The Purdue Boilermakers enter the season on the heels of a second consecutive bowl appearance, and new head coach Darrell Hazell has Purdue fans buzzing about their chances for making it 3 in a row in 2013. Hazell will lean on his experience as a running backs and wide receivers coach to energize a Boilermaker offense that is returning just 5 starters. Senior Rob Henry will look to solidify himself as a starting QB this year, and incoming freshman caller Danny Etling was impressive in spring ball. Joining Henry in the backfield will be junior running back Akeem Hunt, who flashed big play ability both running and receiving in 2012.
To the outside, and Hunt is going to explode for 6 more. Second touchdown today for Akeem Hunt. This one 56 yards.
Senior wide receiver Gary Bush recorded 7 touchdown catches last year and will be the leader of a young receiving corps. Hazell also boasts a special teams weapon, as over the last 2 seasons, junior Raheem Mostert has averaged more than 30 yards per kickoff return. On the other side of the ball, Kawan Short may now be playing on Sundays, but the Gold and Black return 9 defensive starters, including senior defensive tackle Bruce Gaston.
Trouble in the backfield, and Green is buried by Bruce Gaston.
Junior defensive end Ryan Russell, and senior cornerback Ricardo Allen, all of whom have all Big Ten potential. Michigan head coach Brady Hoke enters his 3rd season at the helm of the Wolverines and faces the challenge of replacing the electrifying Denard Robinson. With the departure of Shoelace, the offense in Ann Arbor rests squarely on the shoulders of redshirt junior QB Devin Gardner, who showed impressive skills taking over for Robinson during the latter part of 2012.
Play action. Gardner looking deep. He's got Gallen open. And Gallen's all the way down to the 20-yard line.
In 5 games at quarterback, Gardner threw for 1,219 yards and 11 touchdowns. Gardner's blind side will be protected by All-American left tackle Taylor Lewan, while senior wide receivers Jeremy Gallen and Drew Delio and sophomore tight end Devin Funchess will be relied on to catch the bulk of Gardner's passes.
Gallen in the end zone, leaping up. Gallen, touchdown.
The trio combined for almost 1,400 receiving yards and 11 touchdowns last season.
Man wide open. This is going to be a touchdown. Devin Funchess.
At running back, the Maize and Blue will be bolstered by the return of Fitzgerald Toussaint, who rushed for 514 yards last season before breaking his leg. Junior Thomas Rawls and redshirt sophomore Justice Hayes will be relied upon again to back up Toussaint. Defensively, junior DB Blake Countess returns from a torn ACL to anchor a defense that was tied for 5th in passing yards allowed in the nation in 2012. Senior defensive tackle Jabril Black, junior linebacker Desmond Morgan, and junior defensive end Brennan Byer figure to be impact players for Greg Madison's defense. Tim Beckman returns for his 2nd season as head coach of Illinois, whose schedule is highlighted by a Week 3 meeting with Washington at historic Soldier Field in Chicago. The Orange and Blue will have a new face making the calls on offense as Bill Cubitt takes over as offensive coordinator. Cubitt has 2 experienced options at QB, as senior Nathan Shielhouse and junior Riley O'Toole split time last season. The tandem combined for almost 2,000 yards through the air, including a spectacular 5-touchdown performance from O'Toole against Charleston Southern.
Got a man! Touchdown! Spencer Harris!
Seniors Spencer Harris and Ryan Langford will be their primary targets at wide receiver. Illinois also sports a 1-2 punch at running back, as junior Donovan Young and sophomore Josh Ferguson had moments of brilliance in 2012. Both tailbacks recorded 100-yard games last year and are primed for breakout seasons this fall. Akeem Spence and Terry Hawthorne leave big voids in the Illini defense, but sophomore linebacker Mason Monheim led the team in tackles as a freshman with 86 and added 1 interception.
Picked off inside the 10. Mason Monheim.
The Illini hope to have senior linebacker Jonathan Brown back to full strength this season as well. And Mike Svatina rounds out what could be one of the best linebacking trios in the Big Ten.
Mike, thanks a lot. Pleased to have Darrell Hazell, Tim Beckman, Brady Hoke with me. Let's start with you, Darrell. Welcome to the Big Ten. First of all, give us a sense of what Purdue fans should be looking forward to.
Well, first of all, it's great to be back in the Big Ten. Spent 7 years here. But I'm really excited about the direction our football team is taking. There's a genuine commitment by our guys. And anytime you have commitment, and you got a chance. So we're excited to get started here next week.
How about you, Coach?
Dave, I'd just like to start off with saying something about John's speech. John, that was exactly the day after we lost to Northwestern. We had a team meeting, and we addressed exactly those 4 things that you talked about as a football team. And since December, I've seen the Illini do those things that John talked about. Getting better as a football player, being positive about what you do, making sure that you're being scholastically accepted, helping those newcomers come in when you have 10 new players come in January. And then most importantly, that community and being involved in the community. So it's almost ironic that you bring all those things up, but that's exactly what you talk to your football team about doing. And in the last 8 months, I've seen our football team make those strides to become better.
Coach?
We for us as a team, we had to get back to work. We had a disappointing season. Need to do a better job of coaching our kids. Need to do a better job playing the game of football the way it's supposed to be played at the University of Michigan. And so I like our football team. I like how since the bowl game when they came back, I think Taylor sent a message about what it means to play football at Michigan and how important that is. But we've got a lot of guys who are going in the right direction. Our leadership from our seniors has been terrific. And the young guys that we have, because we will be a young football team, have done a nice job.
Brady, Mike touched on this a little bit in the video presentation, but the loss of Denard Robinson, I mean, he has been identified with this Michigan offense. We got a taste of it last year with Devin Gardner towards the end of the year. But now that you know that Devin Gardner's your guy heading into the year, how will the offense change?
Well, the one thing, Devin was recruited into the spread offense. So obviously, and if you've watched Devin enough, he has some very good skill sets, either throwing the football or with his feet. I think the maturity that I've seen through Devin in the last 2 years has been what's made him a better football player and a better leader for our team. The opportunity to play in 5 football games and start in 5 football games and play in the environment in Columbus, which is always fun to be in. And I think how he played in the bowl game against a pretty darn good South Carolina defensive team, I think has been important, and I think he's learned from those things.
Tim, you talked about at the end of the season getting the team together and speaking to them about kind of where you wanted this program to go after what admittedly was a very disappointing first year. How much do you talk about that afterwards, the last year? Do you use that as incentive, or when you've had a disappointing year, do you just put it behind you?
Well, we talked about it immediately, addressed the situations that we knew were curable, and then we immediately went to reacting in a positive manner. I'm proud of what Nathan and Timmy Kennard and Coy Lewis as our seniors that are here today. I'm proud of the way that the football program has progressed academically. I'll say this forever. We had 51 football players out of 91 that had over a 3.0 this last semester. That, to me, proves that we're heading in the directions that we need to. We got better in the 15 practices throughout spring. There's some continuity, some consistency, and I'm very anxious to get together on August 4th.
Darrell, you talked about having been in the Big Ten before as an assistant at Ohio State. How does that help you as you acclimate to becoming a head coach in the league?
Well, you know the landscape pretty good. You know the teams that are in the conference, how well they prepare for the games. The coaches in this conference are outstanding, and every game, every week, you better be prepared to give yourself a chance to be successful. So it's an unbelievable conference, the best conference, in my opinion, in the country, and it's an exciting conference.
It always kind of starts with the quarterback position, and there are some unknowns for you. You have one guy who has significant experience in Rob Henry, but he's been banged up a little bit over the last couple of years. And then you have some very highly touted guys who don't have experience. How are you going to approach this situation?
You're right. It's going to be a great battle for the first 3 weeks of camp. We'll alternate the first group snaps with Rob Henry and Danny Etling, a true freshman who's been there for 6 months, but he's very mature. Then we have Austin Appleby, who kind of pushed himself a little bit back, didn't take care of the ball as well as he should have in the springtime, but we'll allow him to get back into the race. But 2 weeks prior to our first contest against Cincinnati, we'll give ownership to one of those guys and go with that guy.
Keeping the focus on offense for you guys, Tim, a new offensive coordinator, as we heard in Bill Cubitt. How will the attack compare to what we saw last year schematically and in terms of a concept?
Well, again, I think Bill has been known for more of a West Coast offense. He does a fabulous job. I've coached against him. He's got the head coaching background. He also has the offensive coordinator background where he's called numerous plays in his career. But again, it's the continuity and the consistency of what we're doing offensively. We've added A.J. Ricker as part of our offense also, and he's got the background with Bill Cubitt at Western Michigan. And so they have a consistency there. And then adding Mike Bellamy as our wide receiver coach. We're excited the way that the offense progressed from practice 1 to practice 15.
Brady, defensively, you lost a really big piece that you were counting on, at least temporarily, in Jake Ryan. How do you fill in that gap in the interim here until he comes back?
Well, the one thing we're at now as a program, our depth is much better than when we were 2 years ago. And Cam Gordon's a young man who's a senior. He's been in the program. He had a terrific spring. He worked his tail off. He did a great job when you look at his enthusiasm and his work ethic and everything he's done. And then Brendan Byers, a guy that's kind of played a lot of football for us and played a lot as a true freshman, played a lot either with his hand on the ground or on his feet as a Sam. So between those guys positionally, we think we're in pretty good shape. We've just got a young defense that has to grow and has to play Michigan defense.
Brady Hoke, Tim Beckman, Darrell Hazell, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks, Coach. Yep, we'll see you at camp. See you at camp, Coach.